I am a driveway mechanic, and this is the £300 Land Rover project. So this is a resurrection video, hopefully inspiring to anyone watching it, show what can be done with a bit of patience, a bit of internet research and a half decent set of tools. So let's have a quick look around the car and I'll show you what I found so far. No MOT on it, but I've literally, for the cost of £300, bought this vehicle and got it back here. Obviously it's got a few issues, so I'll give you a quick walk around and then I'll tell you what they are. Obviously the plastics need bringing back, maybe use a heat gun for that, draw the oils out. A couple of little marks on the paint and that. Someone has keyed it. I'm not sure if it's gone all the way through the paint. Might have to do something with that. And it's got an issue with the front coil spring. I'll put you under there, you can probably see that is the end of a sheared off coil spring. Not very nice. Tyres are quite good, certainly got a reasonable amount of life in. It's a 3-door, so it's got the removable top. Tailgate doesn't open. Nothing. Some sort of earth problem with the brakes and the indicator I need to sort out. I'll show you the inside in a minute and almost everything works. But overall, it's not bad inside. Usually these are all torn. It's a bit worn obviously, but it's in quite good nick. Heated leather seats, which is quite nice. It's reasonable in the back. Quite good actually. I want to give it a good wet dry vac in here, get rid of the small bits of mould. There's some on the steering wheel, some on the dashboard. There's some more down here, a little bit up there. So I have actually driven this car. Got it from a farm and had the opportunity to give it a little test drive. And it drives beautifully. Obviously it's got that coil spring which you notice on the big bumps, but aside from that, you brake in a straight line hard, no problem. Steering's good, engine's good, gearbox and clutch are good. So it's not too bad. Fluid levels are all alright. Runs and drives really nicely. Haven't really got too many complaints. So my first goal here is to get this car back on the road, get it legal. That in the UK means having an MOT certificate, which checks the car for safety and roadworthiness. Right, let's start off by cleaning the interior out, I think. So yeah, what I'm going to try and do is get the seats out first, and then we'll get a wet dry vac in there, disinfect everything, and make it a bit nicer. But yeah, I want to get the front seats out, so the first thing I've got to do is disconnect the battery terminals. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's some sort of explosive charge in the seatbelt here, so I need to disconnect a plug, but I need to unplug the battery and wait an hour before I do that. So I've disconnected the wiring loom from the bottom of the seat, a couple of plugs there, no problem. Just going to get the fascia panel off here. So it's a couple of little torque screws. Looks like there might be another one under there. There is. So just 3 of them. Okay, sweet, that's the trim panel out. So there's a couple of torque bolts, 4 of them I think, that hold the seat in. Okay, so that is a T50 torque key. I might have to put some sort of pipe on that, give me a bit more torque. Wow, that is tight. And that has enabled me to loosen it. It should now come out. Jubbly. One, 2, 3, 4. Right, I think the seat should now lift out. Oh, found a penny. Rich beyond my wildest dreams. So found a loose bolt. It's always a concern. Wonder where that came from. Right, running out of daylight fast here, so I want to get the other seat out before it gets dark. Or at least I can do something this evening, clean them up. Right, last few minutes of the day. A few other bits to take out just to clean up. So all these little removable rubber pieces. This one is pretty disgusting. Oh, 20 pence, look. As a result, needs taken out. That one I think is solid, but that one does come out. Tell you what, there's acres of space in here with no seats. Brilliant. Right, these are the seat bolts. Just keep them somewhere safe. Put them in there for now. Get out this. Right, there's that one in there as well. Assume that comes out. Look at the mould on that, how lovely. It's pretty clean. I'll take it out anyway, give it a clean up. Right, and the floor mats as well. I'll start with a little dustpan and brush. Right, going to give it a whole load of that. That is the best smelling car shampoo ever. Right, that is looking a whole lot better. Well worth the effort. Spent about 3 hours doing all that. Quite clean. That nice little original toolkit in the back. Original mats in it. The only thing I'm not massively chuffed with is the steering wheel, so maybe I'll get a replacement. There's not a lot I can do about that. It's a bit manky. But it's not sticky anymore, which is good. Right, this is my driver's seat. And the tilt mechanism does not work, which means you can't get in the back which presumably is going to be an MOT failure. Either way, I've got to fix it. So this is a cable operated mechanism. There's two cables in fact that run down to each side. If you can see this piece moving here, there's an identical one the other side. That it's got a frayed wire on, so when I pull that it does move, but of course it's not connected to anything, so I need to replace that cable. I'm just going to jimmy the mechanism so that I can actually tilt it forward, give me a bit of space to work. Right, there we go. So I've got to get this off. And there's two little, see I didn't tear that, it's already torn unfortunately. I'll glue it together, it'll be fine. It does give me a bit of access. There's two little things I've got to get out here, and they're kind of like a triangular slotted thing. But I may have to drill this out. So I think I am going to drill it out, and then I'm just going to put a small bolt through it. I think that's going to be the best way to do it, and the quickest. Yeah, it's kind of like a rivet. So actually, I think I can pop rivet that back on with a washer under the rivet. Just do the same the other side. Right, I should be able to get this off now, or at least up over the mechanism. So this end of the cable, so the new one, this little hook goes through the other end of the lever that tilts the seat. And then two cables run down here. They clip in with two plastic clips into the side. One of them comes down and goes across and activates this side, which is fine. This side. And that's the broken one. So I'm just going to pay attention to the routing of the cable. Another plastic locating clip there. Make sure I get it in the right place. Well, that's the end of it out. There we go. So that's the old cable. And that's the damage. I'll compare that to the new one. New second hand. So I've just got to refit that in a complete reversal of what I've just done. Right, I've done it. This one is going across here. Really one of the most irritating jobs I think I've ever done. Oh, that's so close. Right. Okay, that's good. Get this plastic clip in its little slot. If I can work out where that slot is. Right, that's in. So if this is the same as the other side, this should route through this little gap here. That is of course assuming that it was routed correctly when I took it off. Right, 22 minutes so far. Right, good. I'm not going to lie, this is a really quite frustrating and irritating job to have to do. There we go. Right, I think just one more little clip to do. Right, that's in, so if I've done it correctly, I should now have a seat that tilts. So if I put it back, now if I lift the handle or push the handle down, which way is it? So I push it up and the seat goes forward. Sweet, that is a result. Right, I'm going to try a hot glue gun. Doesn't need to be massively strong, it just needs to stay in place while I pull the cover down. That's what's an absolute treat. Nice. Not bad. Let's try and get this down now. This could be a struggle. It's a real pain to get it up. The seat cover. So, pop rivet goes in there, washer on the end. Right, this has to go on there like that. Should just be able to put a pop rivet through there now, hopefully without losing that washer. Should snap off in a minute. Nice. It's worked a treat. So same the other side. There we go. Nice. Quite a nice little job. Actually looks better than the last one. Right, final little jobs. This was knocking around in the back of the car. I thought it was for the seatbelt, but of course it's for that. I presume it clips in. Just like that. Little tear there. Quite annoying. Right, I don't have the handle for the end, but I mean, not really a big issue. I've just got the lumbar support to go on there. Kind of a push fit. Job done. Right, my seat is back in. Tilts nicely, great result. I do want to treat the leather. No tears or anything, but I feel like it would benefit from being a bit softer. The interior's come up quite nice overall. There are some little marks on the back here. I might be able to do something with that. Again, I'll get some leather treatment on it. But basically, it's not too shabby. I can't open the rear lock. It's springs. I took this apart really quickly last night. I know it's missing the two springs in here. Micro switch is there. Whether or not it works, I don't know. But what I did was connected the two black wires together, flashed the blue wire across to it, and that should activate the door solenoid with the car unlocked, and it didn't. So I think there's a solenoid in here that's going to need replacing. So I've got a fun little job now. Done a bit of research on it. It's a bit of a nightmare, to be honest with you, but what I've got to do is get in the back. I've got to get a screwdriver underneath the rear panel and get 4 screws out, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't see them, but apparently it is doable. So I've got to release these seats. Okay, so this is the inside of the boot lid. So you've got those 4 nightmare screws to try and get at from like under here. I've had a right result in that those screws have already been taken out. So I'm probably going to have to be a little bit brutal with this. Seems like that side is already disconnected. that's the result. One more little plastic thing down here to pull out. Excellent. Right, so that's the boot panel off. Let's get that out of the way. So just to explain a bit about how this works, the handle on the outside is not a mechanical handle, it's just got a micro switch on it. So you lift it up and it sends a signal to two places. One is the door solenoid, which unlocks, and the second is the window, and the window drops 1.5 centimeters so the top doesn't foul and the door will open. It does neither of those things, so that makes me think there's no current at all getting to the micro switch, which means probably it's more likely that it's not the solenoid. I know the window works in normal operation, so it's probably not the solenoid, it's probably a wiring break somewhere down here, or even a relay. And I'm told there is a couple of relays under here. I'll just put you down here a bit. Right, so this is going into the door. I'll put you in here. Hopefully you can see that plug just there. That's where the current comes through from the brain of the car, if you like, to the window regulator and the solenoids. So I need to unplug that. I need to put the meter probes in there and activate the micro switch, or in this case flash the blue wire across the black ones, and see if there's any result at all. If there isn't, then I know that it's a wiring break or an issue with those relays, which I'll have to trace. Right, first off I've got to get this switch out. It's two little Phillips head screws here. Sometimes these are all corroded, these ones are really good. Okay, you get a little flat bladed screwdriver, prise that down, should all pop out. Okay, right, so I've already disconnected the wires from the micro switch here. Okay, so there's 3 wires here that come down, these 2 black ones. One of these sends power to the solenoid, one to the window regulator. So I need to join these 2 black ones together temporarily. So if I put the probes in here and simultaneously flashing that blue one across there, and I've got absolutely nothing on the meter. So there is a wiring break. Alright, so let's try and get these wires a bit more accessible. So I suspect, yeah, I don't need to unplug that. So I think what I'm looking at, the wires branch off here. This lot goes to the window regulator here, which well, the window works, so I assume they're all good. That might be a mistake. And what I'm looking for is the blue and purple and the black wire here. These ones. And I assume they are going to split off here, not go down to the regulator and come out here. Ah. Well, I have found something straight away. I'm not sure if it's related. So yeah, if I just zoom in here, you've got these 2 wires here. Nothing, they're not broken, but the wires are exposed, which is not cool. And there was some insulating tape around a previous repair here. Unless that's factory, I mean, it's quite a neat crimp connection job. Wires look a little bit corroded, but that's not a break, so I don't think that'll be an issue. Don't think that's the cause of my problem. So interestingly, what I have just found is a broken wire. Kind of looks like it's been cut. Might just connect those 2 ends together and just see what happens. What could possibly go wrong? See, this is not flat. Someone's been fart-arsing around with it. Sharp edges, very easy to damage wires. Right, they're very roughly joined together. I'm just going to flash that micro switch now. Just plug that back in. Well, that is a massive result. The door's open, and literally the problem was just that. I'll just give you a little demo now, show you what I mean. So if I shut that again, yeah, window's gone up. Right, I can't begin to tell you how satisfying this is. So, joined the two ends of that wire together. If I now flash this across, ready? There we go, window drops, door opens. Huge result. So it's just that one wire. So I'm going to go and tidy up that loom a bit, put insulating tape over all the wires that I found that were slightly damaged. Great result. Right, so I'm just sat in the back now. I'm going to put a little crimp connection on these two wires. One. Oh, that's not going anywhere. It'd be smart to cover these up with insulating tape. Well, that's not very good, is it, John? Come on, you can do better than that. Apparently I wrap insulating tape like a toddler. That's one. Well, that's good. And there was this one, which I think was a factory connection in the end, which I took the insulating tape off, but I will just cover that up as well. Okay, all done. So clip all these back in. Right, that's good. So now I can put the panel back on the inside. Check the lock one more time. Perfect. Massive result. Okay, just a couple of little finishing up jobs. This is the rear handle for my tailgate or boot. It is missing a couple of springs which make it return, and the micro switch might actually work, but when I cut the wires off, I cut them so close to there, it's going to be impossible to solder back on again. So I watched a great video on a YouTube channel called Come In Handy Now. I'll put a link on the top right hand corner of the screen now for that guy. Make no apologies for copying exactly what he's done. It's a brilliant video. Again, link on the top right hand corner. I'll just show you in a bit more detail how he fitted the switch. I've got to take this apart. There's a little metal rod here which I need to push out. It should come out from one side. Quite simple. That should now come out, and does. Obligatory spider's nest. That's nice, isn't it? Okay, so I need to remove this old micro switch. So it's been kind of plastic welded through. I may need to drill them out. No. So that's the old one. Probably still functional, but anyway, not anymore. Into the bin. Okay, so I need to get this through there like that. Whoop. It's either a very blunt drill or very tough plastic. So now I've got a pilot hole, I'll go straight up to the big one. Step drill bit. So it's got two little squeezy locating tabs there. I could file 2 little slots there so that it clips in. I might try and do that. The hole needs to be a little bit bigger. Oh, that is quite a snug fit, isn't it? A little test operation on that. That's perfect. I was going to replace the springs, but actually this sits so snugly against that button. It's got a return action on it. Perfect. So yeah, just a little bit of epoxy on there. That's really nice, that is. Right, sometimes in life you have to make a mistake. You have to do something once, realise you've done it wrong and do it again. So this switch that I was so happy with actually stuck out too far, and so when I tried to slide this back inside the car it just fouled, and it didn't really matter what I did with these, I couldn't get it to fit. And that's because this is thinner there than it is there. So the solution is to cut a new hole on this side. So that's what I'm doing now, and that should give me a lot more space to work with. So you've seen this party before. I won't show you everything I'm doing, I'll just show you when it's done and putting it back on the car. Right, I've got my switch in, works perfect. So when I move the switch over to the other side, there's a couple of little tabs inside this housing on the right hand side. They sort of hang down like that. You need to remove them. Quite brittle plastic, easy to get them out of the way. Good result. Right, it's time to get on with the mechanics now. I've got to change this coil spring. Sheared off up here. There's a colour code on these springs, different colours, paint put on by the factory. This is yellow and white, same the other side, so it's really important. I replaced this spring with the exact same one because they've got different loads. So I've loosened the bolts before I jacked it up. I'm just going to take the wheel off. A few little bits to dismantle. I should be able to get the whole strut out. And I've got a local garage who's going to fit that spring for me. So I'm terrified of spring compressors. Here we go. A good chance to have a good look at the suspension. I've been under this car. It's quite good. A little bit of surface rust on a few things, but nothing bad, nothing structural. Subframes look good. Suspension's not bad. Only issue is this coil spring. It seems like all the rubbers are intact. To check out the CV gaiters. Obviously this is the opportunity to change them if I need one. Hopefully not. Going to lano guard suspension and the underneath as well, and that should keep any corrosion in check, treat it, knock it back a bit. And that's like an annual thing. It's only about 75 quid, well worth doing. I'll film that as well. Okay. Not much of a lip there. Dirty, more than corroded. Yeah, it looks alright actually. Not bad at all. CV gate this side is quite new actually. It's good to see. Steering rack gate is all good. Rubbers here are good. Rubbers here are good. got a lot of meat in the discs, the pads rather. That's excellent. It's quite encouraging. Okay, so what I've got to do, a bit of corrosion there, that looks alright, but I'll cross that bridge as and when I come to it. So, get this pipe out, got to get a little clip off here, get this out, loosen these 2 bolts, split that ball joint. Should be able to then just drop this down, take the whole strut out. One there. Okay. WD, give me a fighting chance. Go make a cup of tea, come back and give it a shot. Alright, that's the retaining clip out. So on the other side, this bit here is actually, it's all level, so this bit's been bent down a bit, so I do need to try and straighten that up. Don't really want to snap it off, fatigue it. If that happens, well, I can weld, so I'll just fix it. But is that enough? Right, it is coming out, but it's pretty tight. I'm just really gently using a screwdriver behind it just to tippy tap it out. Okay, there we go, that is free. Right, so now got to get these 2 bolts out and these 2 here, and then I can release the strut from right at the top under the bonnet. Right, so what I am doing real fast is just cleaning these threads up just to give it every chance. Right, so I've just cleaned those threads up with a wire brush. 18mm ring spanner on here. I don't have an impact gun, so I've got a 21mm socket on here. Hopefully that will get it out. Jesus. Right, I'm going to have to put a long bar on this breaker bar to give me a bit more leverage. Nice, okay, that's the top one out. Yeah, okay, we're going. Sweet. Give that a grease before I put that back in. Okay, that's a great result. Those are the ones I was worried about. Only other challenge is going to be splitting that ball joint. Don't think that's going to be too difficult. Right, lefty loosey. actually wasn't tight at all. Good. Right, this top one next, 17mm. Okay, it's gone, sweet. Right, the only job left to do under here now is to split this ball joint. I'll try giving it a little tap, see what happens. Right, a bit brutal. I'm sure there'll be people in the comments telling me I shouldn't have done that, but not damaged the thread. Didn't really hit it that hard. So now I've got to get under the bonnet. I think I've got to move the water reservoir for the coolant, and then I've just got 3 bolts here at the top of the strut, and it should all just drop out. Right, so first off I've just got to get this expansion tank out of the way. I think that's just this one little cross point screw. Yeah, of course, the screw head's gone, isn't it? It's really quite annoying. It's a little plastic headed screw. What I might do is heat up the end of a flat bladed screwdriver and just press it in there. Just trying to make a new screw head in the plastic basically. Yeah, that's worked an absolute treat. Should be able to lift that out now. There it is. So yeah, basically, just put a square groove in that. So if you get stuck, I mean, I don't know why they've made that out of plastic. It's kind of crazy. It just strips straight away. But putting a little groove in there worked an absolute treat. I think this just lifts out. Does it? Yeah, it does. Sweet. Try not to strain anything. Right, so that is the top of my suspension strut. So I've just got 3 bolts there. They look like, you know what they look like, 13? Let's find out. So I've done quite a lot of work on motorbikes before, and that restoration I did 18 months ago on the CBR 600. Done a little bit of work on cars, mainly servicing. I've got to say, it seems like there's a few weird sizes of bolt heads on this car. I don't know if that's a Land Rover thing. I'm going to have to go and buy a 21mm socket. I've got a lot of sockets, trust me, but I didn't have a 21mm. I've never used one before. And then these, I'm 99% sure I've never used 15mm socket before. One. Two. Oh, I nearly dropped that to the bottom of the engine bay. 3. Right, this whole unit should now come out. Make sure I don't found any brake pipes or CV boots. There she is. Beautiful. Right, so it's not in bad nick. Shock absorber itself. Boot's all good, which is good, but look at that. Is it just the one place? Sheared right off there. Imagine the force it takes to do that. There's the other end of it. Right, I'm terrified by spring compressors. I do have some, but I'm not going anywhere near it. I've got a local guy who's going to do that for me. I've ordered a new spring, quite expensive, 92 quid plus the VAT, but worth doing. And yeah, I know I should do them both sides, but right now I just need to get a ticket on it. See how much budget's left for the stuff I'd like to do afterwards. That's cool, that was not that difficult a job. Clean that up, get a new spring in it, and then refit it. Sweet. Right, new spring's fitted. Try and get it back in the car. Having some trouble doing this up. This just spins. Quite a common problem on old ball joints. For all the people in the comments that said I shouldn't hit it, maybe that caused it, you might be right. Lesson learned, buy a ball joint splitter. Anyway, 22 quid, I got the new part, so I just got to take out a little pinch bolt on the side, wind this out, count the number of turns it comes out, put the new bit on, and then torque it all up. Monkey wrench on here, need to count the turns that this comes off. It's going to be quite tight. A little bit of a battle here, I think. It's pretty tight. Freeing up now. Three, 4, 5, 18, 19, 20, 21, must be close, 20, 21. So again, I'm just going to clean all these threads up. They're actually not bad. A little bit stiff, wasn't it? So absolutely identical in length. That's perfect. Right, so 21 turns. But what I am going to do is just put a little bit of grease on the threads. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more, 21. So we'll get the pinch bolt in, put a little bit of grease on that as well. Before I pinch that up, I'll put the nut on here. Again, just going to put a little bit of grease on there. It's brand new, but at some point someone will want to change that. I'll take it off. Quite a tight fit this was, getting it out. I think because this bracket got slightly bent, even though I have straightened it, I think a little bit of corrosion on the outside there is making it a tight squeeze. Obviously being quite careful, these are brake pipes, I don't want to strain them. A gentle little tap, I do mean gentle. There we go. Now I've got to get a little retaining clip in there. Done. This rubber one in the bracket as well. Right, just get the wheel on and that job's good. So I've decided I am going to do the front tyres. Back ones, loads of tread. Really nice Yokohamas, loads of tread there. Plenty of life, in good condition. These ones, they'll pass an MOT just. See the wear bar there? It's almost right up to it. So I'm going to put a couple of boots on the front. Get that done tomorrow. Right, that's the end of part one. Thanks for watching. Quite a lot of work so far. If you could drop us a like, 2 seconds of your time, I'd appreciate it. Do it now. So in part two, there's an elephant in the room, something I can't do myself that might be quite expensive, probably the reason why this car is so cheap. Also going to sort out the underside of the car with some special anti-rust treatment. I don't have any service history with the car, so also going to give the engine a full service. And of course, it is a Land Rover, so there's always going to be 1 or 2 more jobs just waiting to be found.